Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learning acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim with these sessions that are a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry heavyweight in our today's session of FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Pardeep Wazir. He has nearly 3 decades-long experience, predominantly in the organized packaging industry. Being an engineering graduate, he chose to start his journey in field sales and has reached the levels of leadership and management roles in global MNCs, including handling business P&Ls. Mr. Pradeep has enabled external orientation for organizations, built successful teams, running active engagements in product innovation and organization evolution. He has been part of business transformation landscapes and change management initiatives with consistent and scalable results. During his work stint, he has provided value-based business engagements in the specialty plastic packaging industry, serving personal care, beauty, skin care, hair care, food and cosmeceuticals. He also has strong industrial packaging experience in glass, metal, and FMCG segments. In January 2023, he assumed responsibility of Chief Transformation Officer at Mahika Pack, which specializes in manufacturing of plastic tubes, laminated tubes, bottles, closures, and labels for packaging needs for all of us as consumers. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Wazir.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you for having me here. And I am pleased to be part of this engagement and conversation. Hope it adds value to all the directorial and leadership community.
Pleasure, sir. So, Mr. Wazir, you began your journey from the engineering stream as your education background. Was the early on change in your career path into sales, business operations, management, etc. a good move?
Well, after I graduated as an engineer, was I clear at that time? Probably in 25 years' time, I would be leading a business, or in 28 years' time, I would be on a transformation platform. Well, the answer is no. I was not clear at that time. But yes, I was clear about certain facts. That is, number one is I was externally oriented. That was my strength. I used to make decisions which had informed choices, And third one was I always had this outside-in approach rather than inside-out approach, which made me open myself to outside world, absorb things, become more aware. And on top of that, probably engineering adds objectivity to the whole scheme of things. It brings in process orientation. You don't have to be a technocrat by being an engineer. You can still get that learning as a process orientation and apply it to other walks of life. So I would say that this is how it shaped up as an engineer. But having said that, I would say that even the organizations where I worked, they need a loud mention out here, because they also were instrumental in shaping me up. And predominantly 3 organizations, I would say, started with, when I started with ITW Signode, which is Signode right now, SL Propack, which is EPL Limited, and recently when I was at Aptar. So all these organizations had their part to play. They have used me in right portions, right proportions to contribute to the business success, to business growth. And in the process, I have also evolved professionally. I've sharpened my saw over last 28 years with these organizations. Well, since you brought up the topic of engineering as a subject, so we still have, recently what I've seen is that there are not many takers for mechanical engineering, production engineering. There is a lot of traffic going into AI, computer engineering, IT, and rightly so. That is where the whole domain is there, where whole action is. But in the process, I would want to mention here, when I started my career with my first organization, which is Signode, ITW Signode, there was this profile called field engineering. And I would say that I spent around 8 years in Signode. I grew within the ranks, but I continued to be a field engineer all along. And when I say field engineer, it is that the mandate was connected to ground, rooted, knowing your user, knowing your ecosystem, knowing your market, knowing your customer. And that is what has probably laid the foundation of me being a good leader. So I would say that I would urge probably institutes that probably to repackage engineering as a like mechanical and production engineering as a new package, so that organizations have to also come forward to see that engineers would make a big impact, not only as technocrats on the shop floor, but in real business excellence, operational excellence, commercial excellence. I think organizations have to be open to that. Good journey thus far.
Mr. Wazir, thank you for the excellent start to this interview. And it's an honor to interact with someone who exudes such a strong corporate personality. Really. Continuing our conversation, we are curious to ask you about your recent roles that you have assumed as a CXO. We should like to know about your mandates and these responsibilities, motivations, and views, as it would be of immense importance for leaders aspiring on shifting gears.
Okay, it's an intriguing question, but a good one, because and aptly, I think it's apt for the time, because I have also got a lot of clarifications from industry acquaintances. When I assumed the role as CXO, they thought I'm moving into IT or digital space, which is not my strength for sure. But then yes, digitization is part of whole scheme of transformation as well, because we can't run away from it. I would probably want to address this question into three parts. So one is organization, number two is ecosystem, and number three is purpose. When I talk about organization, so I would want to say, Mahika, I would say it's a gem of an organization, and just please retain that in your memory. 28 to 30% CAGR in 5 years. So we had reached an inflection point where we needed to accelerate growth, catapult the organization, benchmark with the best. So people like me who come externally from the industry with complementing strengths to basically facilitate this organization evolution. So I would say that with this organization, so that is my mandate. That is first with the organization. Number two, coming to ecosystem. I told you gem of an organization. What do you do with a gem? You get some more jewels, you get some more smaller gems, you get some gold, you get some silver, platinum, these days rhodium, and then gild it together and make an ornament out of it, which can be adored, which stands out. And that is what our businesses are all about. They need to stand out. They need to look beautiful. They need to have that impact, impactful presence on people, on planet, and then I won't say profit, I would say prosperity, because prosperity brings prosperity to everyone in the ecosystem. So I would say that this is about the ecosystem. So you're creating businesses which are really beautiful and prosperous. And third is purpose. Now, when you talk about purpose, I think I would say that mid-sized and small-sized businesses, they have got a lot of appetite for growth. And when I say so, it is because our Prime Minister has given a call that he wants to make India a 5 trillion economy. And it is these businesses, small and medium businesses, which have to grow. And it would be people like us who step as an enabling agents from outside, where they have learned with their experiences to catapult this in nation building exercise. So I would say that we have taken a leaf out of nations' KPIs and balanced it with our scorecard within the organization. So that's about the purpose. So we are also participating in nation building.
Beautiful. Building on that, I would like to explore the underlying principles, values, etc., that help you manage such intricate and distinct job roles.
I would say that, well, when you talk about intricate job roles, so it was, I would say it's all about people and culture. They are paramount. That is 75% of an organization, right? Because when you address culture, when you address people, you are addressing probably 75% of the whole scheme of things in a whole I would say the game plan, the whole canvas. And then comes that what do you deliver? So I would say that first step is willpower and conviction. That has to be within an organization to tread forward, to move forward. Then we talk about a bit of a discipline, and with that comes skill sets. You have to have that talent, skills to basically be relevant for times and move forward. And in current times, third one is communication, because you can't run away from it. We have to have a both rational and emotional communication with an external world, with all stakeholders to be successful. So I think these are the things which have helped me probably handle these situations over the period of time. But at the same time, I have got another aspect to it, is that when we see how do businesses become successful, it is confused sometimes with growth. But I would want to probably clarify it for audiences if they benefit from it. For me, growth is going from 10 crores to 100 crores. From $10 million to $20 million. It is more materialistic. You build up assets. It is materialistic in nature. But does that mean that we have gained success? I don't think so. It needs to be augmented with a bit of ethics. When we talk about ethics, then comes in norms, compliance, discipline. And when we augment it with ethics, so then we move to the next step. Next step is adding humanity, morality, and spirituality to business. I would want to keep spirituality out of the discussion as of now for this conversation, but then humanity and morality still remains there, because that is what ensures progress. So I think growth, ethics, and progress all in tandem work towards finally the success of organization. That creates a successful organization. It is not only building materialistic wealth or growing year on year. So this is how you build successful teams. This is how you build leaderships for future. Leadership styles can be different. I would still say that, current times are that you need to be connected to people. You need to be connected to organization. If you remember, in earlier times, our kings, rajas, maharajas, they used to move in disguise in the night to know how their subjects are doing, right? So I think now it's time for leaders to step out of their rooms, mingle with people, know what they are doing. It is called MBWA, management by wandering around, being aware, getting more information. So I learned it from one of the directors on GDC. He had used this word, MBWA, management by wandering around, and it caught my fancy. So quite apt for this conversation today.
Absolutely. Moving along, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on how much does leadership matter in the job roles that you have handled?
Well, I would say leadership, and along with that, direction. That's the core. That's the core. If leadership and direction are disconnected with organization and people, then the first catastrophe is that talent takes the first flight from that organization. So it's very important that leadership and direction have to be connected with organization and people. I'll give you an analogy here. It's like, people in lower rung of an organization, they don't know the long-term goals, a 5-year plan, but leadership knows where they have to move. They can see long. So it's very important when you are actually using a ladder, it has to lean against the right wall. The direction has to be right, because we have promised growth. We have promised our organization, our stakeholders, while we climb the ladder, and it's leaning in the right direction. When we reach on the other side, we are going to see grasslands. We are going to see a beautiful garden. We are going to see a sunshine. It should not happen that while we climb the ladder, it is leaning against the wrong wall and we see a desert and a marshy land. So it's very important for leadership to use a ladder while we are growing, and it should lean against the right wall. We have to handle ambiguity. We have to create equity for the teams. We have to take the teams together. So I think this is how leadership and direction is important. Having said this, there is another thing which I would want to talk about modern day leaders. It's just my experience and recommendation is that I call it redundance abundance. It is very important. We as leaders, we have to make ourselves obsolete. We have to make way for newer blood. We have to make for newer managers and leaders whom we have groomed so that we can move on to next assignments, new pastures. And at the same time, now leaders and managers should have courage to recruit, get talent on board who are smarter than them, because that keeps the organization on toes. So these are very imperative scenarios for leadership in current day world.
All right. I just hope our future leaders who are watching this video are making a good note of all the aspects that you have mentioned. All right, Mr. Wazir, my next question is a pretty straight one. Do you think that the industries you have worked for have a better scope of sustainability?
Well, of course, I would say that when we talk about sustainability, it has now emerged. I would say it is part of ESG program. I would have a longer answer for this because ESG is very relevant for current times. I would say that, first of all, you asked me whether it is companies where I have worked. I would want to mention there the recent assignment. I was working with Aptar. I think they have got a fabulous sustainability and ESG platform, and it is available in public domain. And I would urge probably the audience and everybody else, if they get time, to go through those reports. It would be really a good learning, and this can be implemented. This is how we learn what industry is doing. So this is one part. But second thing is when we talk about ESG has already got into the boardrooms. It has already gone into the boardrooms. We are talking about now. We are talking about green boards, we are talking about green directors, we are talking about green practices, and we are talking about green value stream, because now ESG makes an impact on an overall basis. As you might be aware, and everybody who's listening, is that close to 1,000 companies, listed companies, have come under purview of BRSR, that is business responsibility and sustainability reporting. So when those 1,000 companies right now, 2023, we are sitting in 2023, 2028, the mandate is 100,000 companies will come into this purview. So it is a real thing. It's a real thing. So I would also say it is not about, earlier it was about CSR, corporate social responsibility, where you could actually sign a check in Prime Minister's relief fund and the job was done. It was more about quantitative reporting with rational communication. But ESG is more about qualitative reporting with emotional communication. What you're doing for people, what are we doing for planet, what are doing for overall prosperity. So I would say that it is not about doing things right anymore. It is about doing the right things, which is actually where the backdrop is totally ESG, environment, social, and governance, and then sustainability is part of it. When we talk about BRSR, we would be aware there are actually nine principles and 54 elements, and it's very important that industry starts taking note of it, because this is the future. ESG scores in future will make companies attractive for investors. ESG scores will be used for benchmarking. ESG scores will be used for marketing. So I think it's a very inclusive kind of a platform on which we are embarking. That is why it is said that when we mention ESG, we say future is now. I would also say that it's not about, you see, when we talk about reporting, but it is about, ESG is about social contract. It is about belief system. It is about being part of code of conduct in an organization and across the organization. So I would urge organizations, if they have not taken a step in this regard, they should probably make a note and probably start integrating ESG in their agendas for future, and it should be part of their strategy. Well, I'll connect it to, you had a question on sustainability as well when you started. So I did mention about Aptar. So as I said, I would urge everybody to go through those reports. They're really, really fabulous, and there's a lot of learning out there. But at the same time, when we go back to ESG reporting, there is one of the principles which says that all the products which are made, so they have to be sustainable and safe. And there's another principle is that, it has to be mutually inclusive, and it has to also contribute to the complete value stream. So it's very important going forward that even sustainability would be part of long-term strategy with respect to products. What anybody is manufacturing. It can be, see, weightage can be different. Companies like, if you say like Infosys, for them maybe weightage on one aspect might be environment might be lower, where people might be higher. But companies like who are into paints and dyes, where environment would be on a higher weightage than on social. But it's a balance what we have to find out.
All right, rightly said. And that was very insightful of you, Mr. Wazir. Okay, so my next is on technology. And since technology is an integral part of our lifestyle and is changing the corporate landscape rapidly, real rapidly. So what changes with technological implementation have you seen in your professional life? And what changes do you foresee with the implementation of technology like IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Web 3.0, etc., etc.?
Well, you're taking me back to probably memories. What technological changes do I ever see? So when I told 28, 29 years, I started my career with OHP, overhead projectors, and we used to use transparencies. So those slides, transparencies. Then we graduated to remote mail, which was location to location. I used to sit in a branch office, and then we had a head office, and then mail used to, it used to be a common desk where everybody used to get their mails. And then in the process, like pagers came onto the scene. And while mobile connectivity also came up, I think pagers died within 3 to 4 or 5 years, and getting into probably FM stations later on. But then I think we have seen it all. And currently, I would say that whatever we do today, like I'm talking to you, I'm leaving a footprint. I'm actually leaving a footprint. It's all about connectivity and leaving a footprint. When we talk about IoT, so I think a smart device, an application, an interface. Now, this does wonders for all of us. We have been using mobile, that is how it is. We have been using smart TVs. So I think Internet of Things is everything and anything and everything. You can do anything once you have a smart device, you have an application, and you have got a user interface. So imagine, you get up in the morning, and you snooze your alarm, and your tea maker starts, and then at the same time your hot water system also switches on. And if you are in northern part of India or in Europe, there's nothing better to have. And then in 15 or 20 minutes time, while it is known that you would have completed your morning routines, then your microwave switches on for your breakfast meal. So I would say that it's a great situation to be in. But then yes, machine learning, it is evolving constantly. AI, I do not want to comment, because there is a lot being spoken about AI. It is going to be catastrophic. It's going to be difficult. But I would want to say here that lot of changes are happening, because once this chat GPT came on, and recently I came to know that there is a new profession which has come up, prompt engineers. There are people, specialized people who can talk to, you can give prompts to chat GPT and get right kind of answers. So I think we have to find a right balance so that AI is a blessing for us. It does not become a bane. So I think there would be a lot of, I won't say regulations, but I think self-regulations. How do we use it? There would be a lot of, commitment towards usage of technology. So that will evolve over the period of time. But it is there to stay. But at the same time, I would say that when we talk about technology, when we talk about machine learning, IoT, blockchains, now, is it for leaders like us? We subscribe to it, we understand it, but I feel there is an immediate need to infuse new blood into the system who can probably relate to this technology, because things are changing thick and fast. The pace of change is very fast. We cannot rely on current set of talent to basically learn and apply. By the time would be lost. So I would subscribe to the fact that we should get new blood into the system who can actually understand technology and help you with the cost of ownership. The application within the organization of this technology will become more effective. So that is my advice and suggestion, if that is taken on board.
Right. To sum this up, technology is a boon if it is rightly used. All right. Okay. So, Mr. Wazir, since you are now an ESG certified corporate governance expert, what values do you offer to the corporate world?
I think, as I said in my previous question, when you asked about sustainability, ESG is, when we say it is future is now. I did mention that it is not about doing things right. It is about doing right things. I said that it's a social contract. It is a commitment. It has to be part of our code of conduct. So it is completely encompassing the organization. Now, with ESG coming on board, as I mentioned, about nine principles and 54 elements. So still you find about 5 principles sitting on social side. So there is always this tendency that HR might hijack ESG as well. But I don't want to get there or comment on that. But I think this is an evolution that, maybe HR might evolve into a people organization. We might have designations like chief people officer, because that's what is important. You're building a future talent. They need to understand what social responsibility is, what governance is, what an impact on environment is. When we talk about, because 3 Ps, earlier it was 30, 40 years back, it was profit, profit, profit. Then we used to say people, planet, profit. Profit was still there, but currently it is people, planet, and prosperity. Prosperity is like game theory. When you play it, nobody loses, everybody wins. So I think we need chief people officers to basically drive ESG strategies coupled with rest of the organization.
Okay. Let me just put this straight to you as a business leader. Can you provide some inputs on how organizations can be better prepared to retain future ground?
Yes, I think what my recommendation is that, we are in a VUCA world. It is volatile, it is uncertain, it is complex, it is ambiguous. I remember 20 years back, our managers, if we were actually firefighting on daily basis, they would actually tell us that, they would tell the teams that you are unplanned. It's a lack of planning because we have got a firefighting to do every now and then. But when we look at the current day world, when we go to office, I think every day you will have a fire to douse because the world is so dynamic. So that means current leaders have to actually balance it out. They have to douse the fires on everyday basis, maybe 3 of them morning, afternoon, evening, and then also keep their gaze fixed on their medium-term and long-term strategy and plans. Recalibrate, calibrate. I think that's very important. So I would say it's more about being preemptive. I would not use proactive. It has been widely used. Yes, proactive is okay, but preemptive, to understand what could come out, make inferences, what is happening on day-to-day basis. If you have doused probably 20 fires in a month, these are enough data points what is going to happen 6 months down the line, or 12 months down the line. So I would say this is one part. I would say that say that this is how organizations need to look at. And other thing is on organizational evolution. This is another part. As I said in the beginning, it's all about people. It's all about people. And then other thing is about upskilling. We have to invest on our people, and then create a talent pool which is relevant for times. I would say that we are a very lucky lot, because we have seen it all. We have seen technology, we have seen a political upheaval, we have seen political changes, we have seen social changes, we have seen pandemic, and I think there cannot be anything else. So we have got all the learning. So I would say that develop talent, develop horses for courses, be relevant, keep your eyes and ears open. So nobody has a crystal ball, but we are all there to perform in a business. But look in an overall picture, everybody has to gain. It's everybody's business.
Excellent, excellent. That was amazingly insightful of you, Mr. Wazir. All right, so here is my last question to you. We are building the industry magnates community for cross-pollination of knowledge, and a community of independent directors for having a better corporate governance in the country. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole team of WDC?
Well, first of all, I would say that it's a human service which WDC is doing, because I think there is a lot of independency which will come to boards, right? So I think getting people trained on being independent directors, there cannot be a better situation, because there is a mandate from Ministry of Corporate Affairs that these would become a norm. Again, I would say that, as you said, cross-pollination, that's a very important aspect. So I think we have got people from various zones, various segments, various businesses coming together. And I would want to congratulate, I have interacted with Heval, I've interacted with Heval personally. So I would want to congratulate Heval and Zishan both for taking up this initiative, and happy to be part of the whole ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wazir. Your expertise and passion for the subject matter were evident throughout the interview, I must say. And it was inspiring to witness your dedication to excellence. Amazing, amazing. All right. So I'm confident that your insights will definitely inspire the future leaders. And that's it. Thank you for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and have enriched their minds.